Hi, Dr. Allison JK here. Glad to be with you all. So, where does all that negative focus come from? Why do some people seem to be happier and have an easier time being lighter than others? First off, everybody has negative thoughts. The difference is the volume and the frequency. And I know from my decades of teaching meditation, being a meditator first and foremost myself, living in Asia for 10 years, studying all of how consciousness and energy work, including being certified in India as a yoga teacher, and working with consciousness all these decades with other people in energy medicine in particular, the more blocks you have, the more unconscious and subconscious blocks you have, meaning the more density and the less you've worked with yourself in your consciousness, then the more density that you have. The more density that you have, then the more negativity that you have, the more propensity that your thoughts get pulled down a denser track. So you can do all of the therapy you want, you can do all of the workbooks that you want, you can do all of the psychoanalysis that you want, all of the tapping that you want, all of the law of attraction classes that you want. But if you want, for example, to be able to manifest with greater ease, I tell you what, the higher your vibration is, the more you move energy, the more power you have to move energy. It's that simple. And so how do you get that higher vibration? Is by the purification of your consciousness. Now, when I say purification, some of you may think that means I need to fast, that means I need to detox, that means I need to go to an ashram for a month. No. You can go, and we're meant to in these times, humanity's spiritual awakening time, our greatest evolutionary leap between 2012 and 2032. We're meant to be in our daily, mundane, everyday lives, spiritually awakened and doing this purification process. And so this is in part why I always, anytime I run a clearing to get at the density, it also includes the vibrational upgrade or the activation is another way of saying it, or the positive messaging is another way of saying it. So you can go about your day-to-day life as the people who work with me do, whilst you're purifying, listening to these clearings and activations. It doesn't mean that you need to go into a big detox program. Now, definitely our food and its ingredients and the frequencies with which it is made and the purity of the ingredients work in a symbiotic relationship. However, I find that as people progress through my signature program, Magic, Manifestation, and Money Flow, where this purification process happens, as they get more and more purified, they naturally, without me even saying anything yet, waiting for it to happen, start to eat healthier, start to want to eat cleaner. And they also start to see themselves lighter. So that lightness, that ability to see the contrast increasing, even as I was talking to one person in 3M, which is the acronym for Magic, Manifestation, and Money Flow. She's seeing like her moments of what she used to be like, lethargic, undisciplined, procrastinating, heavy, dense, not able to go about her daily tasks, or it took everything for her to go about her daily tasks. Now she's seeing days where she has way more energy and she's higher and lighter and can get lots of stuff done, and then less days like the old version of herself. And as that contrast increases, it's a great indicator that we're successfully purifying. She's successfully purging the density. I have another person who has gone through Magic, Manifestation, and Money Flow, and talking about how she had wanted more money as one of the outcomes. And many people do, in fact, have, like, the day they sign up, instantaneous influx of cash, or the first week or the first 2 weeks, and they even see it extend to their family. Husbands get raises, husbands get promotions, husbands start new businesses, spouses come walking in with surprise checks from clients of the person working with me in Magic, Manifestation, and Money Flow, who owed them money for a long time, and all of a sudden they're paying them back. the businesses suddenly take off. New clients come in what had been like a stagnant business for 6 months, another one stagnant business for a year, and then the highest paying client coming into her boutique that afternoon. So, I mean, I could go on and on with examples, but not everybody gets those instantaneous results. Why? Because it's really interesting to me. When I came back from that decade in Asia and I expected to be giving workshops on the spiritual path and holistic health and wellness, and some of you forgive me if you've heard me say this on podcast interviews, I became unexpectedly proficient at clearing money blocks, because I realized that people in front of me at these workshops weren't able to receive what I was talking about. So I looked into it with my intuition, my guidance, and even I think spoke with 1 or 2 people from the different workshops. And I came to understand that whilst I had been tucked away in Asia, working in the international school system and intentionally increasing my net cash flow by 60%, I hadn't been affected by the market crash in 2008 and 9. These people had, and they were in a fear lack mentality. And so I became proficient in clearing money blocks, ridiculously, unexpectedly so. And when I'm bringing new people into magic manifestation of money flow, I always remind them that whilst you need to go slower with the chakra clearing, the Chakra 2 and audio series, because they bring out physical clearings, they have effects. Like the root chakra, people get physical effects. The heart chakra, the second one they get it brings an emotional purging. So that way you can know that it's working. Meanwhile, there's 15 free gifts. 14 of the 15 free gifts are all focused on prosperity and abundance. And in those are hour-long clearings and activations that, whilst they're focused on money blocks, the majority of them are about stopping self-sabotage, clearing self-punishment, clearing where you believe you deserve punishment, clearing where you believe you're not worthy of receiving, clearing where you believe you're not good enough, clearing where you believe it has to be hard, clearing where you believe. So I could go on and on with those lists there, right? But you'll notice it's not about the external money flows. Now, we do talk about that. We do talk about how to make choices that are new, that are going to lead to new outcomes, right? Thinking of Einstein's quotes, if you keep making the same choice over and over again and expect a different result, then that's the definition of insanity. But in order to make those new choices, you have to have internal shifts. So reminding you of the idea that the external comes second. The physical is affected by our consciousness, and then thus our vibratory field, because our consciousness, especially what I call the back of the house consciousness, the sub and unconscious, if it's full of blocks that haven't been cleared or purified, then that's going to predispose us again to go down more negative, repetitive thought patterns. The more traumas we haven't cleared out, the more imprints from our parents and lineage we haven't cleared out, the more conditioning we haven't cleared out, the more karma we haven't cleared out. Then, and there's other stuff too, like unconscious conclusions. All of this gets cleaner and has more light cast into it when we deal with clearing the back of the house consciousness, the subconscious and unconscious, which relates to the relevant chakras. And so more light pouring through, or chi, or life force, or prana, or ki as in Reiki, universal life force energy, now gets circulated throughout our system as we clear a blockage, and it corresponds to the relevant chakra. So then that's the increasing lightness, which in your body as well as in your mind, you're now feeling lighter, and you'll have more propensity to go down lighter, higher vibratory thought patterns. And that includes being able to move more energy the higher your vibration, and thus manifest easier. So the work, or your power and our responsibility, is within us. It's not about controlling external events. It's not about working hard and busting through that door to have a breakthrough, no matter how much you've banged on that door and it's remained closed. It's not about sticking to that 5-point plan to get to that target or that goal. It's not about controlling others. It's not about making others do better. It's about our own internal shifts. And one of the core ones is about our ability to receive, our receptivity. How flirtatious are you with all of life? How receptive are you to life? So I can see people come in and they think they're working on their money blocks, But realistically, the movement through a core life pattern where they're used to shutting themselves down and they have a strong inner critic, for example, because maybe they have had a super critical mother, that inner critic isn't going to let them have a full flourish fountain of receptivity that's going to call out to the universe, hey, bring this in, please, for me, from a joyous place and a light place. Instead, it's going to be clenched, tight, and contracted with the inner critic fed by the imprint and the conditioning and the trauma from the hypercritical mother. So we want to peel that back or purify that or clear that so that now you can have more propensity to go down a new thought pattern that are higher and lighter, less propensity to get pulled back into that habitual, lower, denser, negative thinking where you stay in that contraction and money can't get in. So you can think that you're working on your money. You could think it's about money, for example, when it's actually about you and your consciousness. There is so much power. There is so much light and love available to every single person, no matter what your choices have been, at any time to shift. And now is the time. There is so much additional support now, even compared to 4 years ago, to help us all with this. So I'd love to be able to play with you in this way and help you actually see results, because that's what happens here. So here's to lightness. Namaste.